We have a seat waiting for you in the Delmarva Life audience. Come be part of the fun. To book your seat, just visit delmarvalife.com and click on the show tab. There on the right side of the page is the ticket tab for our audience, or call 443-880-9116. Well, the cooler temperatures are creeping in and the leaves are slowly changing. It's fall here on Delmarva, and that means it's time to start thinking about what bulbs we want to plant. And joining us today to help is gardening expert Ginny Rosenkrantz with the University of Maryland Extension Office. Welcome, Ginny, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, first, for those who may not understand the concept of bulbs, you plant them in the fall so they bloom in the spring.
Right, right. Bulbs actually are wonderful because they're a perfect plant. They have the flowers, the leaves, and everything all ready to disperse forward in the springtime. And that's what I love about it, mostly because sometimes people have trouble getting through fall and winter because it's so dreary.
Right.
And if you plant things now, you know that they're going to be absolutely gorgeous. It's something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to.
Yes.
So what are the most popular bulbs?
Oh, definitely. Daffodils, because there's nothing eats them. They're nasty, poisonous to things that like to eat things.
Okay.
But they come up year after year, and you can go to old houses and see beautiful bulbs that have been there for hundreds of years.
Oh my goodness.
Crocuses, the same thing. They live forever. Hyacinths, I love the fragrance of hyacinths. They're absolutely spectacular. And then tulips. Tulips are gorgeous, but tulips are very tasty.
Not for us.
Well, people have eaten tulips.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the tulip flower definitely. But the voles and the critters like deer and squirrels love the tulip bulbs.
So maybe you should plant them in a pot?
That's why I brought the pot. Exactly. You're so clever.
Is it best to plant them in the sun or partial sun? Where should we be planting them?
They need a lot of sun in the early springtime because they're only there for the springtime. So full sun in the springtime is important. That means that you can do them full sun during, any place that you have in your yard. But if you have a deciduous wooded area, like for instance where the leaves fall down in the fall, you can plant them in that area because in the springtime there's not going to be any leaves there at all, and they'll get the benefit of all that sunshine.
All right, well, we picked where we're going to plant them, so let's get planting.
All right, well, I'm going to do a container because it's easy to do, and you always want to have a container that's got excellent holes, and this one definitely does. So I'm just going to go ahead and start tossing in some soil in here.
Okay. How deep should we plant our bulbs?
I'm glad you asked that question because people always ask that question. You need to plant the bulb about 3 times the size of the bulb. So if you're looking at a bulb like that, that's a beautiful tulip.
Yeah.
You want to plant that. Okay, we'll put it here.
So one,
okay,
2,
3. So that's what I love about trowels. As deep as a trowel. It works out really good.
Length, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, when you're putting things in a container like this, you never pack down the soil because you want it to be nice and loose.
Okay.
Because plants need to have a lot. Now, if you want to have a spectacular, absolutely spectacular container for a very small time of the year, then only put one type of bulb in there. Only hyacinths or daffodils or crocuses or something like that. But I like to have surprises, so we're going to plant a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay.
So now with those, when you're looking at the bulb, you want to plant it so this right here, the flat part is down. And the pointy part is up. Right,
so
exactly.
Pointy part up, okay.
And then notice how this has got a flat side and this has got a fat side. You want to plant the fat side to the edge of the pot. So put those on the edge of the pot. Perfect.
Okay, and I want to put it...
No, you want to put it right on top.
Right on top, because you're going to put the dirt on top of that.
And that's the neat thing about this, is you can do this with a lot of different people, kids and all that kind of stuff, and you don't really have to get dirty and all that.
Okay, I don't know if they can actually see that.
That's hard to see. Take our word for it, we're doing a good job.
Take our word for it. Yeah, it's moving as I move it around. Okay, so what about, can we plant and forget it?
Once you plant it, the best thing to do is to put some water in to get everything, good soil contact. And I always like to put plants on top so that even in the fall after you've got it done, it doesn't look like this dead thing.
Right.
And you'll have, now these are little Johnny Jumpos, so they'll go ahead and spread all over the place, which I don't mind that, but some people might. So you might want to go with pansies if you don't want things to spread.
What about fertilizer?
That's the thing about bulbs. They come completely ready. The flowers there, the leaves are there, and all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to add any. If you're using a potting soil like this already has fertilizer. But a lot of people like to put a little bit of bone meal outside, mix it in the bottom of the soil, and then add their bulbs on top.
Oh, okay.
So that works out really well.
Okay, so what about the cold temperatures? Because these are going to be in our ground when it gets sub-zero, right?
These guys like it cold.
They like it.
Yes, they really do. We are actually too warm for tulips to survive over the summer.
Okay.
Which is really frustrating. So I put my tulips outside in the shaded areas where they get afternoon shade, hoping that they come back. And some do and some don't, and that's life. Daffodils and crocuses and hyacinths, they'll come back year after year. And they'll do fine, but they also love the cold temperatures. They're like, yay, cold, And even crocuses will come up and they'll bloom in the snow. When we have snow.
When we have snow. All right, and if you would like to learn more about caring for your bulbs, go to delmarvalife.com and click on the show tab as always. Thank you so much, Jenny. And still ahead on Delmarva Life, the March of Dimes works together for stronger, healthier babies. You can help too. We're going to learn how you can join the effort. And it is as simple as enjoying some delicious food while having a great time at the annual Signature Chefs auction. We're also in the kitchen getting a tasty preview of what to expect at this year's event. But first, while we're talking food, many people are trying to watch their waistline. Dr. Oz says slimming down starts with portion size.
The number one way to lose weight is to be aware of what a proper portion size is. Now, how do you do that? With visual cues. Let's start with meats and proteins. The average serving size of a steak or chicken should be roughly 3 ounces. But what does that really mean? Well, a great visual cue for this is a deck of cards or the palm of your hand. When it comes to starches, think of a tennis ball or a fist, which is roughly a cup of pasta or rice. And lastly, studies show that the bigger the plate, the more you eat. So try switching from the standard 13-inch one to a 9-inch one. And guess what? Blue plates will help you eat even less. Knowing how much to eat and how slow to eat is a great way to keep your diet on track.